The year is 2006. My Chemical Romance completed emo rock with Welcome to the Black Parade. The Arctic Monkeys were making gross misjudgments about the nation's dancing abilities, and people's computers were sounding like this. But perhaps most importantly, that at Christmas I received this. With this helmet began a 20-year journey that I would not trade for anything. But this, like every story worth telling, needs a rock bomb. A lot of mistakes were made in this building. An awful lot. Too many to count, to be honest. It feels weird going back to be a killer, especially now it's closed down. Because I think when you make the decision to go with sobriety and you make that decision to stop drinking, there are so many times that you can look back on and go, that was the night that I should have stopped, and then you just don't. But right now, what I want to do is I want to take you through my drinking low point. That's what I want to take you through right now. It was in this very wheelchair where I think this took place, where my tyres had broke or something along those lines. They took me aside and asked me to leave. And I was about 4 or 5 pints in at this point, which for me was like DEFCON 1, you know, it was the sheer limit that my body could handle before I turned into a complete evil mastermind. Slight hyperbole there. So I was sat here and they escorted me out, and rightly so. How they expected me to get home on 3 wheels when I'd already had a fair bit to drink. I was justifiably angry. What makes this story important is the conversations I actually had with people that I was out with, if that makes any sense. So I was about here. I was trying to get the best angle, but this just seems to be the best. And I remember the bouncer was stood there, my friend was stood there, and I just remember being absolutely irate. Like I was not wanting to hear. I was not wanting to hear any of it. Any suggestion anyone made, I was just screaming the house down completely. I completely lost my temper. And I think one of the important things to also add in terms of the context is this had become quite regular behaviour, is probably the best way to put it. It hits particularly home for me because I never had a dependency, so the option was always there to give it up, and I never did it. I never took the leap until a lot of people would consider it too late. But I think a lot of the time when you make that decision, and all those times where you didn't make it, I believe that's what makes it a permanent decision, because you're kind of like, you've made the mistake of not doing it before, so now that you've made the decision, don't go back, if that makes any sense. My other friend had come up to the ramp and was like, it's okay, we've all had a bit to drink, let's all calm down, let's all calm down. I just remember, before I'd left, I remember my friend was on the verge of tears or in tears, I can't quite remember that portion. And I just remember they were saying, this happens every time he drinks. And I think they went back inside, and my friend started then taking me home. Turned around, looking about here, and I had my head in my hand and I was in tears, which was also quite a regular occurrence when I drank. I was turned around like here, with my head in my hands, just screaming, you know, I'm never going to change, I'm never going to change. And then my mate took me home, and that was the end of the night. I developed a very weird relationship with the night that you've just heard. About a year into my sobriety journey, I was about a year away from achieving my first year, about 2 months away. And my dad, he just bought a perfect pints machine at the time. And I remember, because my brain was using it on both sides of the argument. You know, one side of my brain was going, oh, you know, the people that you upset while you were drinking weren't in your life anymore, so what's the risk of, you know, having one drink or two or three or what have you? And then on the other side of the argument, that my brain was also going, no, that night is why that friendship deteriorated, and alcohol is the reason why that relationship deteriorated. So it's very weird when you're in a conflict like that, because I think a lot of the time you just don't know how long it's going to last.
I failed to understand that night. Unfortunately for me, we must relive my biggest regret.
What feels weird about being in this room, you know, essentially where friendship, relationship in my life basically ended in this room, what makes it feel weird is not necessarily that I'm here. I think what makes it weird is that I'm here specifically to reflect on that night and my wrongdoings in that friendship. I think my biggest wrongdoing is, I think I built up a version of this person that didn't really exist. And I don't mean that I was like manipulated into thinking this way or whatever. What I mean is they've become such a vital part of my life that when they came into my life, I wasn't just expecting them to like them for me, I was expecting them to be who I was as a human being. There isn't a person alive that can live up to that, you know what I mean? There's one night that really sticks in my brain. I just attempted to take my own life in about my first year of uni, and my flatmates found out and sent security down to my room, and they checked on me, they saw I was alright, and they left. They reassured me, they left, and that was that. What sticks in my craw is not really that I spoke to them about that night and about the incident, because I think that was a normal thing to do. It was how I went about it. You know, I didn't text them or call them when I was actually needing them. I texted and called them when I knew I was completely fine and I wanted a response, which is manipulative. There's no way of beating around the bush and trying to be polite about it. And I've been watching a lot of superhero stuff recently, where I've been seeing loads of stuff about taking your pain and making it a positive thing, you know, and I just didn't do that. I used my real pain, and I think that's what makes it frustrating, is that it was real, and I used it to get what I want. I didn't use it to make the people around me more comfortable. I didn't use it to make the world a better place. I used it to get what I wanted, which makes you feel like a hypocrite in hindsight, you know, and that's 100% on me at the end of the day. And I think that's what happens when a person becomes bigger than who they're meant to be in the first place. I broke the only thing that I cared about, trying to get what I wanted. And I think that guilt and that pain, it just rose to the surface every time I drank. Like, it wasn't really until, you know, after the night you've just seen that, and losing somebody else, because I still continued to use my pain to try and get what I wanted. I think I'm about as over it as I can possibly be, because I think in some respects it is my Uncle Ben moment. With great friendship comes great responsibility, you know what I mean? Just, if you take anything from this documentary, anything, even if you don't want to give up drinking after watching it, just turn your pain into something good and don't use it to get what you want.
Commanders fans, what's up? It's Terry McLaurin. I'm back. I'm excited to be here with you guys, man. I call this place home. I can't wait to see you guys out there week 1. Let's work hard this year. We need y'all loud each and every week. Appreciate y'all. Let's get to it.
It's safe to say after a lifetime of mistakes were made in just 4 years that a rebuild was needed. I took a look at the rubble left behind of the life the world told me I was supposed to have, found a burgundy and gold jersey, put it on, and decided to see where the world took me. With that in mind, let's get ready for week 1 by taking a trip down memory lane for the team that always came back.
First of all, Austin, man, I want to say I am proud of you, my friend. We are proud of you. That is a big accomplishment. 2 years, brother. Keep on chopping wood. Keep on going, man. You understand, 1 day at a time, 1 hour at a time, and enjoy it all, brother. And I'm sure you got some stories that you want to share. So one thing I can say this about you is you're a living testimony. So sometimes some people hearing you talk about your testimony is the testimony. So just think about so many more people you can help just from the 2-year voyage that you've been on. Congratulations, brother, and keep on going. Keep on chopping wood. Fred Smoot, hail to the Commanders. I'm out, brother.
I'm Dexter Manlin, 2-time Super Bowl champ of the Washington Redskins / Commanders. Austin, I congratulate you on putting a good film together. That's what makes America so great. We all come together for the common good of helping each other out. Austin, I think you're doing a great job with putting the word out there. Everybody needs to hear a good word and to show that you're doing something great in the community. I appreciate you. I thank you for your service and thank you for what you're doing, that you're spreading the word. And that's what the program is all about, carrying the message. I've carried the message, you carrying the message. Thank you, Austin. Have a good day and good luck and go Commanders!
And with that ends our trip down memory lane, and we are now officially ready to celebrate the Super Bowl. This journey has really been incredible, and it's not a journey that I would trade for anything. I know a lot of people would, because of all the loss and all the pain that was bestowed upon me in those 4 years. But I wouldn't be the person I am today without that pain and without that loss. And I think this documentary and the creation process of this documentary has really helped me come to terms with the fact that I was one of the few that had to lose everything to become the person he was today. And sometimes that's okay, and sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And this documentary was made in hopes of helping people who feel like the conventional way that turns people's lives around doesn't work for them. And I hope that you've got that message from this film, because the conventional way didn't work for me. you know, it's not easy having to humble yourself with the worst things possible. But it's fine, you know, and you will be a better person for it. I mean, look at me. 6 months ago, I sat here wearing this great stupid hat around Christmas time because it was Christmassy. 6 months before my 2 years to kind of get me through these next 6 months and the party season. Because when you don't have a dependency and New Year's Eve and Christmas are popping up, you got to keep yourself accountable. So that's why that video was made, and maybe I'll post it at some point. But to be sat here 6 months later, wearing this hat, having achieved the 2 years now, about to go downstairs to take it all in what I've accomplished, is incredible. And it's like I said, there isn't a soul alive that I would trade places with, because I wouldn't support the greatest team alive without it. And I want to finish it off with a story that I wanted to tell you. It all begins on the 15th of September 2020, when I walked into university for the first time with a box of 10 Dr. Peppers and a favourite team, and I sat in my room, nervous as hell, as I watched Washington beat Philadelphia to mark the beginning of my university time in my life. 4 years later, with all the trials and tribulations that took place and all the loss and all the pain, I sit down to watch my final game as a university student. And I took it all in. I took all the loss, I took all the pain, and just drank it all in and enjoyed the person I was that day. But it was quite hard thinking about everything, obviously. But then I look down at my hand and I see this bottle of Dr. Pepper in my hand that I bought on a whim the day before when I went to the cinema. And I looked at my hand and went, you know what? With everything that happened to me, there's something to be said after everything that's happened, that I'm walking out the same way I came in, with a can of Dr. Pepper and a favourite team. And I lost a lot while I was at uni, a lot down to my own mistakes, and I've accepted those mistakes. But to still come out the same way I came in meant something to me. And so can you. You can still find a way to come out the same way you came in. And with that in mind, there's only one fitting way I want to end this documentary. We started this journey with a favourite team and a can of Dr. Pepper. We finished this journey with a favourite team and a can of Dr. Pepper. And now we end the documentary with a favourite team and a can of Dr. Pepper. Hails to the Commanders, baby.
3rd and 10. 4-man rush. It's Goff throwing over the middle, and it's picked off Jeremy Chin. And Washington will be going to the NFC Championship for the first time in 33 years. That'll do it. The 1 seed goes down. The Commanders on their way to the championship game.